Chelsea have dropped Enzo Fernandez. Liam Rosenior speaking in his pre-match press conference before the FA Cup quarters, of course, just after an international break, where a lot of things have been said, most notably by Marc Cucurella, who's probably a little bit more respectful towards Chelsea, and of course the guy currently wearing the captain's armband, Enzo Fernandez, who has been twerking for Real Madrid all over the gaff pretty much ever since we lost to PSG. It split the fan base to a degree. A lot of people thought, well, obviously he's going to lose faith in this. It's not working. Some people, I'd probably say myself included, would feel he's a little bit more disrespecting of Chelsea, a team, a club that pays him quite well as it is, that protected him when there was controversy around him over those songs in the bus with the Argentina team. They protected him and didn't put him up for Conference League stuff, presses in case he was asked about it. They handled it very well and they gave him the captain's armband. And quite frankly, and selected him all the time, quite frankly, he's disrespected Chelsea by what he's done. And they've acted accordingly. Well, they have genuinely, even if you have sympathy with Enzo Fernandez's position of where Chelsea are and where their project is, call me old-fashioned, but to disrespect my football club while you're wearing the captain's armband and you're twerking for paella in Madrid, it's not a bad look. Now, I'm not particularly necessarily giving up on Enzo Fernandez. I fear he's given up on us, which is something we can talk about in today's video. We're going to get into Bobby Vincent's coverage of the press conference. I did just watch it myself, but we know Liam Rosenior can speak well to the media. He's done it again. Well, he speaks quite assertively, but lots of interesting stuff was said about Enzo, about Cucurella, about Reece James committing to the project with his new long-term deal. Without being said, he actually has lowered his salary a little bit, I understand. And of course, the summer, and they were asking, oh, Liam, are you going to be involved in transfers in the summer? Are you going to buy more experienced players, some winners, not children? Which is kind of like what, Cucurella was saying a little bit more. Enzo's just been like, I want to go to Madrid. But Cucurella was a little bit more gently criticising the project. Rosenior's response is more about strong players with mentalities, not weak mentalities, which I think was a very pointed comment at his players. And this has been a recurring theme for the Chelsea head coach, saying his biggest issue with his players is how they react to adversities. And that's not like a big loss. That's literally moments like conceding a goal or not getting a decision your way by the referee, not him blowing up, stuff like that. Really minor things. And look, the jury's out on if Rosenior is good enough to be a Chelsea coach. People would have already made their decision. Some people might think, well, he's got an impossible job. It's up to the owners and sporting directors to change in such a way so it becomes a tenable working environment for coaches and players. Some people might think that's the case. But it's very, very interesting. I must say I've been waiting a lot, or I've been anticipating a lot this press conference, and we're going to go through it together. But before we do, I do want to show you this on The Athletic. This is the pessimistic meter, whatever they call it. How do fans think about the rest of the season? So this is a poll for each fan base for respective Premier League clubs. Sunderland, obviously just went up through the playoffs, living life. They love it. They're safe. They're great. Everything's gone well. They're loving life. Understandably, they're feeling good. Everton, the vibes are really up now as well. They could push for very strong European competition, Europa League, who knows? Maybe Champions League at the expense of Chelsea. Of course, last game out, they beat my mob, our mob, probably, 3-0 at the Hill Dickey. So Everton feeling good, United understandably feeling good, Brighton, Villa, I suppose, because they could win the Europa League, Forest, because they think they could stay up, probably, Bournemouth, Arsenal. This is fascinating, really. I know we are going to talk about Chelsea, and this isn't a Football Yannick video, this is a football therapy video, so we speak about Chelsea. Fascinating how Arsenal are just 84%. They're top of the Premier League, and it's in their hands that they're clear, and they could win the Champions League and FA Cup. That is insane to me. This shows you how fragile, fan bases are when they don't win for all. Yeah, Man City, about right. But really, the story is, guys, here, yes, you've guessed it. Yep, you've guessed it. Yep, you've guessed it. Oh my God! For some reason, We are underneath Tottenham. Now, the vibes are biblically down. If you are underneath relegation threatened Tottenham, I don't know how... I know, I'm laughing because this is ridiculous. Well, I kind of get it. The mood has been like so dismally low. Trust me, as a content creator, I have been feeling it. I have been getting comments and all angles and orifices shoved up me on social media, on YouTube. People are upset. I get it. I am too. I'm very frustrated with the running of the club. But Tottenham could quite literally be relegated, and still, we are comfortably the bottom of the pessimist meter. Just an indicator of where the vibes are. So that's, I don't want to be like, start on a real negative vibe, but that is a starting point, a reminder of where the mood is. I mean, you got to be realistic. The head can't be in the sand here. This is where the fan base is. There is a miserable collective feeling at the moment, to the point where there's a kind of like apathy for some. There's either like real aggression or assertivity, or just like a sort of a diversion of energy to go like protest, to ask for change. And some people are apathetic and they're like, that would be the biggest thing that hurts Chelsea the most, apathy, because that's when they sort of lose, or hurts the owners the most, because that's when they lose the life force, really. There's no positivity. Like, what is there to be positive about right now, apart from Esteval's coming back from, he's ready for the next game. We'll speak a little bit about we might build a lineup for the Port Vale game for a bit of fun. Esteval's, Levi's going to return. Trevor Chalobah's injury's not that bad. Apparently, we will make some signings in the summer. I mean, if you want, there is some scope for positivity there, but you'll be really pulling it out your behind. You know what I mean? It's not great. So, we are going to go through Bobby Vincent's Football.London update on this Rosenior press conference. Here we go. So, Rosenior is here. This is Football.London, Bobby Vincent's just basically updates from the press conference. So, injury news. Reece is getting along really well, but he's not quite ready yet, so at least it doesn't sound that serious for the Chelsea skipper. Trev is progressing well as well, but not back. Levi Colwill is back in full training, and Esteval and Jamie Gittins are both back. So, that is good. Esteval being back, he's probably our most dynamic, exciting attacker at the moment. One of the little few things that can give Chelsea fans joy, watching him do some fun stuff, score some goals. Obviously, he came off the bench in that horrible loss at the Hill Dickinson, but looked quite exciting. Even in a 3-0 loss, grasping at straws, but here we are, ladies and gents. And Gittins, he hasn't really had a chance. He did score that wonderful goal, and was it the FA Cup? Can't remember. Probably. He sort of rolled his laces across it and rifled this venomous finish. And of course, Levi Colwill, we're all sort of waiting for him to return, especially, not just because he's probably our best centre-back, but also in a world where we're lacking commitment and leadership. He's got a bit of that, hasn't he? So, there you go for injury news. So, here we go. Cucurella and Fernandez. This won't be the full quotes, I imagine, but I might be able to expand because I did just watch the presser myself, fresh off watching it. I spoke with Enzo an hour ago. As a football club, with me as part of the decision, he will not be available for tomorrow's game, Port Vale in the Cup, or Man City next Sunday. A line was crossed in terms of our culture and what we want to build. Now, he has to say that, and he has to do it. You can't have your captain, your acting captain, just laughing around on streams, talking about Real Madrid when they're asking what teams, or moving to Madrid when they're asking what teams, laughing. And of course, that's building up a narrative of great amount of criticism already that he's been doing before the international break. We look weak already. There's been a great deal of criticism of the mentality in the dressing room. And there is this, Enzo's a fighter, he wants to win, but he's signed till 2033 now, wherever he is. He'll cost a lot of money. He has been in discussions for a new contract with Chelsea. It's not, do you know what I mean? It's not like Chelsea were unwilling to discuss that. And like I said, the way they protected him previously in controversial situations, because he well, not so much is, but was a young player, to just come out, and I get it. Rightly so. He could even have done what Cucurella did, because Cucurella questioned elements of the project. He's not been dropped. Fernandez could have done that respectfully and been like, I want to win, but I have concerns. Nah, he was just like, bun this, I'm off, fam, off to Madrid. Do you know what I mean? And you can't do that if, say, they've given you the armband and they've treated you that well. I don't care how dysfunctional. This is my opinion, guys. You can have your own. So if you disagree with me, do it respectfully. In my opinion, maybe it's because I'm 37, and I just think if you're wearing the captain's armband, a little bit older than a lot of people that watch me, you have to behave in a certain way, regardless of the direction of travel of the club. You have to I mean, would you imagine Reece James, Chelsea's actual captain, wearing the captain's armband, doing that? Now, a lot of people do want the hierarchy being called out. And I must say, for those of you who feel really, really frustrated, I am kind of pleased that this has happened to a degree. Certainly the way Cucurella did it, I think it does highlight. It's important that, it's not just us from the outside looking in. But even though there's like a little part of me that does sort of get a dopamine hit from Fernandez being like, oh, well, screw this. It's all messed up. And look what you've built. It's not working. I'm off. Even though part of me was like, oh, good. Well, at least I'll have to act now. They still have to act on Fernandez. You still have to punt. You still can't just completely be like free reign. Like, oh, okay, all just slag us off and run around in the kindergarten playground. Do what you want, mate. Do you know what I mean? You still be like, if you're going to disrespect Chelsea as an institution, you have to discipline them. You have to sanction it. You can't just be like, oh yeah, say what you want. Like while everything burns down. If they've got anything about them, this mob who are running Chelsea at the moment, and they want to, and their model does rely on winning, and they do want Champions League football all the time, they will assess this and affect how their leadership group players are coming out and speaking. But at the same time, you've got to show some cojones and sanction Fernandez. I thought he would be punished for this. I thought maybe a fine and maybe, not on the squad for Port Vale, and then you can come out and be like, oh, we've had a good conversation. But to be like Man City as well, I mean, I wonder if they've stripped the captaincy of him. This wasn't properly explained or defined in said press conference, but I wonder if he'll wear the captain's armband again. Let's move on a bit more on Fernandez and Enzo. It's not ideal. A lot of this stems from a difficult 10 days. I'll go back to the first game against PSG. It all fell apart in 15 minutes. I mean, the Philip Jorgensen howler, we've not looked the same since then. There was a huge emotional dump that led to the next 3 games. The comments from Enzo Cuckoo's interview stems from that. It stems from a good place where they want the club to succeed. Yeah, I think so. I think Cucurella is happy at Chelsea, and they go on to say that he's happy in London. We gave him a pay rise. He's rose to prominence at Chelsea. Remember, we got him from Brighton. I know Man City wanted him. We got him from Brighton. He had a really difficult beginning. He sort of had a nice, story arc. Won the Euros, won the Club World Cup with Chelsea, got a pay rise. His kids are happy. He spoke about Barcelona because he's a La Masia kid and he massively supports them. He sort of said, well, it'd be hard to say no. He's not trying to get out of Chelsea. He just said, look, for us older players, it's harder to understand right now. He did it really well. And I think a lot of people are more respectful of what Cucurella did it, how Cucurella did it, where Enzo Fernandez isn't thinking, how can we make Chelsea win right now? By the way, while wearing the captain's armband, he's like, how can I win right now? By leaving. That's what it's giving. More on Enzo Fernandez here. Enzo, firstly, as a character, a person and a player, I have the utmost respect. He's frustrated because he wants us to be successful. In terms of the decision, it's not at all about me, the sporting directors, or the ownership. The players, we are all aligned in our decision. The door is not closed on Enzo. It's a sanction. You have to protect the culture, and in terms of that, a line was crossed. Yeah, obviously a line was crossed. Even people who are happy spoke out or just said, I want to leave. I mean, I don't know how many people are happy that Enzo is pretty much saying he wants to leave Chelsea. I don't think anyone's really happy. I mean, there is a little bit, like I said, perhaps schadenfreude that the sporting directors are having to, reap what they've sowed. And with that, it's a little bit, you can get a little bit of enjoyment. But ultimately, yeah, you still have to be a football club, and there needs to be a structure of respect. It is not, I mean, it feels a little bit, not ironic, what's the word? How we're pulling out the lines about Chelsea's winning culture and can't be disrespected by any club. When at the moment, we've never felt further away from the club that the Chelsea head coach, Rosenior, is referencing there. It does feel like we're far cry away. It does hopefully mean we're at the nadir of what that, and maybe, God willing, they are realizing that they've built something that is untenable in terms of too young, too inexperienced, too weak a mentality. Obviously, some probably quality missing on the pitch as well. I think we'd all agree on that. And this is the nadir because you've got your, acting captain pretty much saying he wants out. Because that is bad for Enzo. Enzo needs to be punished. He is being punished. He'll probably be brought back in. Yeah, fine. And I don't mind. My position on Enzo has always stayed the same. I think he's an excellent player, probably close to world class / world class. I think he's more replaceable than someone like Moises Caicedo. I think every Chelsea fan, or most Chelsea fans, would say that. Like, in terms of what kind of players they are and what they offer. I think he's more replaceable than Cole Palmer. I think he's probably more replaceable than Estevao. But I don't want to lose him because I think he's an excellent player. And I think in a good team, he would be really, really good, basically. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Do you know what I mean? This is interesting, though. Does Fernandez want to be here? Now, you could see Liam Rosenior, the Chelsea head coach, sort of think about how he was going to say this. Even at Everton, they were saying, he's clever, Rosenior, isn't he? He sort of takes you around the houses in a response to a question. Even at Everton, there was no lack of commitment in his performance. In terms of speaking for him, what he wants for his future, it's not for me to speak about. If he could have really easily went, he wants to be at Chelsea, he just wants to win. And he used to do that. Notice how he's completely dodged that. And he's probably said to him, I want to get out of it, mate. I don't want to, I'm guessing, I'm not by any means saying that's been insinuated anywhere. I wonder if Fernandez has been like, hey Gaffer, fair enough. I shouldn't have said it, but I'm only saying it because I want to leave. I'll do what you say, I'll train well, but just know I want to leave. Maybe not transfer request is hit at the table, but maybe he's just straight up said that, and that's why Rosenior has gone around the houses there and been like, look at his commitment when he plays. I can't speak about what he wants because he wants to leave. Do you know what I mean? So that's what it feels like. All right, Cucurella, a bit more on Cucurella. I had a fantastic chat with Mark yesterday, half an hour in my office. I've been here for less than 3 months. Got to feel bad for this geezer at this point. This is for less than 3 months. Chelsea, speaking about man-aged, that Rosenior cringe meme, this less than 3 months. Do you know how mental that is? The amount of stuff that's happened. I'm enjoying it. Yeah, are you? My disappointment in Mark's interview was where it went to. I think he should have spoken to us first about how he was feeling. As a football club, we know we need to improve. Do we? Do we, gang? We know what we're going to do in the summer to achieve those objectives. He did go on about Cucurella and said, look, you can speak to us about this stuff, because the journalist, she asked, do you feel like Mark doesn't feel like he can talk to you or the sporting directors about where you're going? So it comes to a sort of conversation with The Athletic, an interview, which is obviously where this has come from, for him to be like, you know what, we are feeling a bit concerned and this wasn't the right decision. And I think they've given him a slap on the wrist, but because he was respectful, a bit more respectful, he didn't say I want to leave Chelsea. He was just sort of expressing concerns, but he still spoke well of Rosenior, as well as speaking well of Maresca, of course. It wasn't as, damaging as perhaps what Enzo, because Enzo's not even Enzo's just sort of spun this I want out sort of thing, where Cucurella is a little bit more, we need to make this work because we want to win here sort of thing. I think he is generally happy, Cucurella, at Chelsea. That's the kind of vibe that a lot of headlines are saying, at least. Make your own mind up. He speaks about the FA Cup. We want to win. It's not about me. It's not about me winning silverware. It's about the club being successful in the long term. I mean, look, I've been very firm on this. I'm desperate to win the FA Cup. I love the FA Cup. It's an amazing trophy. If we win the FA Cup for the first time in 9 years, I would love that. Look at the Man City fans celebrating the League Cup. I know they love the League Cup, but that's got nothing on the FA Cup. And you might think, well, look at, I mean, these players have just been in free fall. You know, we might scrape by Port Vale and the mood will be similarly low because Port Vale have never played in the top flight before in over 100 years. I mean, we won't lose. Right, but you know, I think I would be delighted to win the FA Cup personally. Similar sanction for Cucurella. Said no, that's a separate case. Mark is available. He will be involved tomorrow. Like I said, it was kind of different vibes. So he spoke about transfer plans. Oh, come on. Yep. He says he wants, when they said, are you going to bring in more senior players, experienced players? He kind of assertively interjected the Chelsea gaffer and said, bring in players with emotional stability. Yeah. Not going to come out and start talking about paella as soon as the proverbial hits the fan. Different characters who can, in difficult moments, understand what is needed to win. I mean, I get what he's right. He's right because, but again, this is not on Rosenior. I do genuinely feel bad for Rosenior. I was sort of calling for his head after Everton, and many of you criticised me for perhaps a reactionary, emotional thing, and maybe it is, but it looked like he lost the players. We will know in the next 2 games if he's lost the players or not, and then you can make your own decision. But I've always maintained I like Rosenior. And I do have a great deal of sympathy with what he's dealing with the weak and fragile mentality of this team we've assembled. And that, my friends, is on the sporting leadership at Chelsea Football Club. That has nothing to do with Liam Rosenior. Nothing. He probably thinks his Strasbourg team, who were by far more an inferior team in terms of quality, they were the youngest team in Europe. So I think Chelsea were the second youngest, but Strasbourg were the youngest. He probably wishes he had some of the, the mental resilience that maybe he thought was in that team there. He probably got to Chelsea thinking, wow, these are Chelsea players. They were in the Chelsea shirt. This is effing Chelsea. In the words of Emma Hayes, and that from that great speech. Understand, this is effing Chelsea. And he probably got it thinking, what? What are these bunch of collapsing children every time a yellow card is waved at them? And that is not on the head coach. That is what he inherited. So for him to be like, look, bring in emotion. That's a pointed dig at his current squad. Bring in emotionally stable players, basically. Which is, fair play, brother. Creating a culture. I want to create a culture where we can be open, transparent, and challenge each other. To create that, we have to have difficult conversations. I guess this is like in response to not going in international break and causing problems after, and that's all. Right. Yeah, man. Heavy. I mean, I do feel bad for him. I didn't believe him too much when he said, I'm enjoying it, in terms of, like, the 2.5 months he's been here. It must be tough. He did say it's the hardest, some of the others. I mean, obviously there's some stuff there that Bobby Vincent didn't pick up from the presser, that he said, like, it's been the hardest 10 days of my entire career, both playing and managing, and I kind of believe him, dude. Do you know what I mean? So comment on what you think about that, but let's build a lineup for this Port Vale game at home against a team that's never been in the top flight, and I still think we're going to go pretty strong. Spoiler. Sanchez, of course. Philip Jorgensen's not available. I don't know. Don't see him throwing in like Gaga. I'm going to go Josh Champong at right back, which isn't his favoured position, but we need to get him playing here. I do think probably we will see Tosin, because he'll want and we won't want to see him. I think if he can't play against Port Vale at home, and he'll want a little bit of leadership on the pitch and some characters there. I wonder if it'll be Badiashile or Mamadou Sarr. I do think it'll be Badiashile, because he's a left-footed, left-sided player that simply just needs to be given a chance, and these are the games, He did say Cucurella will be involved tomorrow, but I think that'll be off the bench. So I'm going to play Hato at left back. Yeah. No Enzo Fernandez, of course, he's dropped. I wonder, we saw Cole Palmer training. I wonder if just for nothing else to prevent the disaster from happening, he will play Estevao, Palmer in the 10, Lavia and Asugo maybe? Because Asugo is available now. I mean, you could do instead of Lava, you could do Santos. I mean, to be honest, we haven't even seen... Let's put Santos in from the start, because Asugo... Let's get Asugo off the bench for half an hour. It probably makes more sense. Probably Delap up top, because Wasibi's literally just been training, waiting for his chance. And this is, what happens. Now, Gittins is available. I'm going to give Gittins 60 minutes and then Garnacho the 30 minutes off the bench, because Garnacho is still probably ahead of him in bigger games, you'd have to say. As is Neto, who's been out fighting. And that team can beat Port Vale at Stamford Bridge. And if it can't, burn the whole thing down. Burn it to the ground. Burn it. Yeah, man, it's been pretty sensational stuff, though, you'd have to say. Wow, it's going to get rough, I think. It's going to get harder before it gets better. Is that the expression? It's going to be fascinating how Chelsea navigate the return of football after this international break, man. I'll tell you that much. I'll, of course, be here on Football Therapy uploading every single day, so I'll thank you for your support, for liking and subscribing on YouTube. Of course, it's available, podcast format, Football Therapy Podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Please do consider following and 5-starring on there. And if you want a lovely little palate cleanser, which I've been thoroughly enjoying, please do subscribe to the second channel, Football Yannick, where I now have over 20,000 subscribers and I'm uploading every single day. You just search Football Yannick on YouTube or click the link in the top of the description. Enjoy your bank holiday weekends for those of you over in the UK, and hopefully we win tomorrow. And I don't know, it's fascinating to see what unfolds now. Take care of yourselves though, look after each other, enjoy the football if you can. Peace.